Hello and welcome to the Boot Camp for Your Mind podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Werdeman, certified holistic life and mindset coach. What's happening, my friends? How are you today? I hope whenever and wherever you're listening to, you're having a good day and that the sun is out because, well, I personally think the sun makes everything better. But today I wanted to talk about the feeling of feeling lost. And I don't mean directional wise when you're out and about on the street. I mean in your life. So this episode is for anybody who's feeling a little bit lost, or maybe you know somebody that's experiencing this. You know what? Maybe you're in a season of transition, a career change, motherhood, midlife, or just you get that sense that something just seems off. And you know what? Actually, maybe there is no big change happening, but you still feel a little untethered or just kind of unsure or disconnected from your purpose. And I think sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves about like, what's my purpose in life? And, not that everybody doesn't have a purpose, but sometimes if you don't feel aligned, it can often make you feel like disconnected or, what am I doing with my life? And oftentimes, like I have found myself when I've been in big transitions, like, oh my God, what am I even doing with my life? Like, or why am I like this? Shouldn't I feel more grateful? These are some of the things that I hear from clients all the time. And I think it's just so important to kind of dive into why we feel lost. How do we talk to ourselves when we feel lost? And you know what, friends, when you are in this particular area of your life, you're not broken. You're just in between. I'll have people say to me, they're like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like something must be wrong. And there's nothing wrong. And you're not alone too. So oftentimes we internalize things and we get into our heads and we feel like, oh my God, everybody else has their shit together. They know what they're doing. Like, and here I am. You're not alone. And we have been taught that we need to always be growing, grinding, or figuring it all out. No, we don't always have to be growing or grinding. Now, as a coach, yes, I help people grow, but sometimes just being in the present and being in the unclear, that's where some magic can really happen, right? So what if this fog that you may find yourself in, or again, somebody it's not failure, but what if this is like a fertile ground, right? And yeah, like I said, we often judge ourselves and we turn on ourselves when we get into these, I like to just kind of call them funks, but if we think of them as seasons of our lives, and just befriend the season that you're in. And you know what? I often hear people think, the busier they are, or all of the things that they're accomplishing is a measure of their worth. And yes, it's amazing to have, accomplishments and reach, certain goals and all of that great stuff and being productive and all of that. But it doesn't mean that's your worth. Your worth isn't measured by all of these things. Like you are allowed to exist in the gray. You are allowed to not know what's happening. You're allowed to just be. Let me say that again. Like you are allowed to just be. And I know that this space, when you do feel lost and you're just being, if you will, that can be scary. But what if we looked at it as a space of being sacred? The space between who you were and who you're becoming. That's where transformation lies. It's kind of like the cocoon, like dark, quiet, messy, but it's necessary, right? And it's like the winter before the bloom. It's the seed beneath the soil, like no sunlight, no certainty, just trust, right? And the beauty of that is knowing that something else is coming, even when you can't see it. And that's the scary part too. That's where anxiety kind of comes in, because if you think about it, anxiety is our emotion when we don't know what's happening or what's going to come, and we can't control it. So if you can't see what next season is coming for you, that can be anxiety provoking. But if we look at it differently, know something great is on the other side, and we're just in the season of in between, and being okay with that. So if you're here in this fog, in this in between, the waiting, here's what I want you to know. 1, stop judging the fog. It's part of who you're becoming, which is amazing, right? Like, I think back to a time when I was super lost. I wasn't super lost. I felt super lost. And this was when I was transitioning from my previous career to starting my own business and coaching people. And I remember at first it felt like a vacation. And then I was like, okay, kids are back at school. Like, whoa, what am I doing now? Like, and it was really scary. And I remember how anxiety provoking that time was. And here I am almost 6 years later. And oh my God, it was just such a magical time. So I had the ability to start to really create and design my life the way that I wanted to live it. And before I got to that place of freedom and being confident with the decisions that I was making, it was scary. And it felt very, just lost provoking. I don't know how to actually phrase that better, but you know what I mean. So there's such beauty on the other side of it though. And then also anchor into small things. Like when you start to get a little bit anxious or fearful or, judgy on yourself, just anchor into something small. Maybe make a glass of tea or go for a walk or just breathe, like stop and breathe. Oftentimes we forget about how powerful our breath is and how it connects our mind and our body. So whenever you're feeling any sort of like emotion, just stopping and breathing on purpose and noticing it. Like maybe you count your inhales and your exhales or just feel them. Like, do you feel them in your chest? Do you feel them in your belly? Like just stopping and pausing to breathe on purpose is huge. And then let go of the pressure to figure it all out, right? We oftentimes think that we need to have everything figured out. And you know what? We don't, which is so freeing when you think about it. Like you don't have to have everything figured out all the time and if you think you have to, I don't know, for me, I think that's stressful. So instead get curious, like ask yourself, like, what is this showing me? What season am I in? Like, what is this season showing me? And where is my energy gently leading me? And I often will suggest you can think about it and you can take time, but really taking a few extra minutes and journaling about it, you would be amazed at like the amount of stuff that can come flying out that you didn't even know was there or inside. And all of a sudden you look and you have a page full of data that you just took out of your head and things that, you might not have realized were going on. So, and always, I say this in a lot of my episodes, but speak to yourself with compassion while you're going through this. Because again, like I said, I know it can be scary and you think everybody else has everything figured out except for you, which is not true. It is totally not true. So speak to yourself with compassion, grace, kindness, curiosity. I know people don't like this too shall pass, but if you think about it, like every season, every emotion, everything passes. Nothing lasts forever. So embrace this in-between stage, like embrace, we think, I feel lost. Like that doesn't have to be a negative thing. It can really be where some serious growth and clarity come in for the next version of yourself or the next chapter I have this cool sign. It's trust, Trust in your next chapter because you know the author, right? You are the author. You are the creator. And you can control what it is that you want to create. So when authors or, writers are putting together their books, like they don't have it all figured out. At least I don't think they do from what I hear. Yeah, it just takes some time and it takes patience and it takes self-compassion. So just a couple closing words for you. You're not behind. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are being rerouted, rewired, and hey, maybe even reborn. So let yourself rest in the in-between. Let yourself be held by the not knowing. Let yourself soften into the trust. I promise you the clarity will come. You will get your spark back. But for now, just breathe. All right, my friends, I hope you have a fabulous day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. And again, be gentle with yourself. Bye. Take care.